Anne-Marie, happy Tuesday. How you doing here today?
I'm doing great. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you. I can see you. We are a go. What do you got for us?
Awesome. Well, we got a couple of things. Let's talk about Google.
Perfect. That's where we left off. So that's a
All right.
good segue there.
Good place to look. Let's take a peek at this daily structure, right? Of course, the Gemini news sort of circumvented this topping tail here,
Yep.
but we still have not breached the big fat round number. And so my thought is that this downward flow of volume is probably going to send us back down to the pocket, especially once people start to digest the revision of the jobs news.
Mm-hmm.
That downward revision is troublesome. And do remember that when the Fed lowers rates, they're concerned about, whatever. And that inevitably filters into the market. In very big discussions, there was an article I read about the top CEOs of Fortune 500s, and it asks them, when interest rates are lower, does that give you an impetus to spend money? And most of them said no. Now, the more debt they had, the more likely they were to refinance debt, but
Right.
it does not force them into capital expenditures, which increase their output in general for future growth. So I thought that was an interesting study. I'll find it and slack it to you just for reference's sake.
Perfect.
But let's take a look at a two-way trade. All right. First of all, I have an iron condor that is really, I have to roll it. This is an existing position
Mm-hmm.
that I have that is getting blown out, but I'm going to give it a couple of days to see what I can do. And so in the next couple of days, I'll see about rolling it. But if we're thinking about, hey, listen, once October comes in, seasonality kicks in, we get ourselves a little boost into the end. That could be a very nice upward trade. And so that is the November 235, 245, 255 butterfly
Okay.
for $1.28. So if price action moves to the upside, this is a very nice place. It's very close to where it's defending its price levels. And that 245 zone gives us an upward thrust. We could probably see, anywhere from a 100 to 300% return on that
Okay.
one. For the near term, as we sort of try to stabilize what's going on, we expect a fade from this 235. So in a rare place, I actually have that put almost at the money. And so it's a little bit more expensive, but if it fades into frontline support, which is that 225 zone, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the clear frontline support
Right.
based on heavy volume. It's going to deliver results. Not only that, if it fades a little bit, the butterfly is going to be very sensitive to price action motion. And this is also a place that you can look for a nice return, maybe 200%, a minimum 100% if it begins to fade. So I like this quick strike trade. Remember, it's only got a few days, 10 days until expiration. But my thought is what big money has been doing is using the big spikes to use it as exit liquidity. So they are trimming at these highs. They've got the equities and the futures as hedges, and they're expecting a little bit of a retrace into the formation. I really like both of these setups. If you want to wait on the November one and put in the September one, also a very good idea. Pulling in to this 230-ish area is probably going to make this butterfly lose about maybe 20%, and that might get you in under a dollar, and that would be a very nice trade to the future.
So that's good because one of the things that I was going to ask you there is if, like, let's say you did the put one first, right? So you did the September expiry first, you end up getting that move down. Great. That should make the call fly cheaper. But you would still advise going with the same strikes there. You would not readjust those
Yep,
strikes.
I'm
Okay,
not going to
perfect.
adjust them at all. Yeah,
Okay,
because we
that's some of
are
the strategy.
expecting. Yeah.
That's some of the strategy I wanted to be sure about there because I know. Can you talk a little bit about why? Because I know if I was just looking at calls, I would probably want to take a lower strike and hope for the appreciation. But why would you do it this way with the butterfly?
So that is a really great question. And the answer is sort of based on a preference event and the natural inclination of this particular instrument to rise into the end of the year. It's got a good seasonality event. It holds steady over these spaces. And this Gemini news, kind of a big deal. And so I think it's going to give us this upward pressure event that could easily send us into these higher levels. What we have noticed over time, and if we stare down the chart from a longer term perspective, this chart really, when it gaps up, it holds these levels and tends to gap up more and then begins to fade. Now, that's the reason I'm picking those same strikes, because I want to see the break into the higher formations, because that's my expectation of motion. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. That's good. I appreciate that. I actually like this. I like this a lot. And I think that if, gun to my head here, I would think that we do get a pullback before making those new highs. So
Absolutely.
I love that you've got this set up for that. That's perfect.